'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
The story of the path to coldness in love is well known. We start off full of affection for one another, and then, with time, feelings fade. We start prioritizing work. We check our phones while they're speaking. We don't especially want to hear how their day went. There's a popular surface explanation for this kind of emotional frost, that people naturally get bored of one another, in the same way as they get bored with everything else. The gadget that once seemed so amazing, the film they used to love. Going cold is, in this story, simply the unavoidable consequence of familiarity. But there's another explanation, darker at first, but in the end more hopeful. The loss of interest isn't either natural or inevitable. The boredom is something at once more complicated and more active. It exists because we feel hurt by, angry with, or scared of our partner, and because we haven't found a cathartic way to tell ourselves or them about it. Tuning out isn't inevitable, it's a symptom of disavowed emotional distress. It's a way of coping. We're internally numbed, not just a touch bored. This can sound strange. After all, we might have no active sense that our partner has been hurting, angering, or frightening us. The idea appears laughable or extreme. It makes our partners sound like monsters or ourselves like weaklings, neither of which is true. But the self that loves within a relationship is not the normal adult self we know from other zones of our lives. We may mostly be hugely resourceful and resilient, but the person who loves is an infinitely more vulnerable being. We should imagine it like a smaller, younger, more defenseless version of ourselves that lives in our heads and is no tougher and not much wiser than we were as babies, which is when so many of our needs for and ideas about love were formed. It's this vulnerable self that continues to direct our hearts, even if we're 6'2" with a pointy beard. The loving self has a gossamer thin ego. It gets hurt, frightened, and upset with desperate ease. You could deeply distress it by interrupting it during a story it's telling you about the sandwich it had for lunch, by not asking it enough about the little spot it got on its arm yesterday, by preferring a book to cuddling, or being a bit tricky about what channel it should watch on TV. Of course, these are, by ordinary adult standards, tiny slights. But we don't love by adult standards. These small arrows are enough to wound the self that loves to its tender emotional core. Ideally, of course, the small self would at once point out what's happened. It would carefully explain that it had been frustrated and hurt. Its voice would be measured, undefensive, and charming. But mostly, it just stays silent. That's forgivable. It doesn't properly understand what's wrong. It just knows it's in pain and is driven by an instinct to withdraw and protect itself, which translates into behavior that looks pretty cold. If the adult self had to give voice to the loving self's upset.
Wow. Uh-oh. It's Monday. The voice of reason has returned to KBLA Talk 1580 with another thought-provoking relationship topic. Really quickly, before I delve deep into the questions, I had a guest, a special guest for tonight. He canceled at the last moment, but he'll be back on Monday. I'm not going to tell you who he is. He's never been on the show before, but I'm excited to have him. And do you know my television show airs tonight? 9 p.m. Soon as I get off the air, all you got to do is download the Our TV 78 app. That's OUR TV 78. Download the app. And right at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, boom, my episode of The Situation Shift shall air. Also, before we dig into the topic, do you know we have what is known as KBLA swag bags to give away? It's my turn to give it away. Listen, if you're the second caller, right now, if you're the second caller, you will win a KBLA Talk 1580 swag bag and entrance into our exclusive second anniversary party on Juneteenth. On Monday, June 19th, listen, it's going to be cool. You're going to be hanging out with all of our talk show hosts, some amazing artists who will be performing live on stage, food, drink, dancing, and lots of fun as we celebrate the second anniversary of your favorite talk radio station. Congratulations to caller number 2 right now from your friends at KBLA Talk 1580. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. Whoever is number 2 gets the swag bag courtesy of Zo Diggity. Number 2. If you got them, Andy, we already know. Andy, I want to know their name once you get it. Now, on to tonight's topic. Is your love tank close to being empty? All relationships go through it, highs and lows. But as the clip that set up the show talked about, it's more than just boredom. It could be a protective mechanism, right? Where someone has been hurt. And the only way they know how to process is to withdraw and get cold. Tonight's topic, is your love tank close to being empty? I know there are people out there. Oh, yes. I know there are people out there who are struggling with this, dealing with this. I want you to call in and talk to me tonight. The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. What are the signs a relationship is coming to an end? What are the signs of a relationship that is running out of gas? Can you convince someone to stay when they're ready to go? What happens when your love tank hits the big E? How do you know if a relationship has run its course? What are the signs of a relationship coming to an end? How long is too long to wait for a relationship to get back on track? 1-800-920-1580. Call me right now. I need to know. How do you deal with it? Are you dealing with it? What has been the challenges for you? Come on, you already know what this is. Non-judgmental discussion about real topics around relationships. Agree or disagree? One of the key signs your relationship is ending is that you no longer, oh, this is tough. Gosh, is that you are no longer vulnerable and open with your partner. A cornerstone of happy relationships is that both partners feel comfortable being truly open to sharing thoughts and opinions with one another. Now, that's tricky. It's hard because sometimes your partner will bring up things that you don't want to hear, that you're reluctant to hear, that you're resistant to hear. And let me just say, sometimes relationships have really pliable safe spaces, meaning, oh, you can say whatever you want to say to me if it's not something I don't want to hear or if it's not something I disagree with, right? I think, and this is something that I'm trying to master. I haven't mastered it. See, I don't have a problem telling you what's wrong with me. I have a problem mastering this. Sometimes if it's something I don't agree with or if something I don't want to hear, I'm a bit more reluctant to receive it. Does that happen to you? And if that does happen, does that contribute to your coldness? 1-800-920-1580. Call me. Ever wonder where to start when your love runs out of gas? So maybe, right? Maybe counseling, divorce in the relationship, keystroke stalking. Let me see where they've been on social media. GPS tracking, turn a blind eye to cheating, make nice, or turn into a raging lunatic. What are your options here? How do you know if the spark is gone out of your relationship? 1-800-920-1580, the voice of reason has returned. When I come forward, I'm asking more questions and I'm going to the phone lines. You know.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know that all City of LA renters have rights? Check out these 3 facts. Residential tenants can't be evicted without reason or just cause. Eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt due before March 31st, 2023. And you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice. 5 days. Many Angelinos may be at risk of losing their home, and that's why we want you to know your rights. Learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Ready for an unforgettable experience this Juneteenth weekend? I'm Queen Mother Nina Womack, inviting everyone to my multimedia arts exhibit called Wayusi, The Legacy of Slavery and Freedom. Experience African culture, Black art, live performances, keynote speakers like Dr. Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter LA and more. See the door of no return, an 18th century slave dungeon relic from Ghana. Produced by Transmedia 360, sponsored by the Department of Mental Health, Cal Mesa, and Take Action for Mental Health LA. Running June 16th through the 18th at ArtShare LA, 801 East 4th Place, 90013 off of 4th Street, 1 block east of Alameda in the Downtown Arts District. Get your tickets at legacyofslavery.com or call 877-594-1290.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees and you paid COVID sick leave in 2021 or 22, you may qualify for reimbursement through a state grant program administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Learn more at covidpaidsick.com.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
As we go a little something like this.
Hey, it is me, D.L. Hughley, and I am thrilled to be heard weekdays in my hometown on KBLA Talk 1580. So check out the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a whole lot to talk about, let me tell you. That's on the real.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
My years, I guess I shedded some tears. I told myself time and time again, this time I'm gonna win. But another fight, things ain't right, I'm losing again. Takes a fool to lose twice, start all over again. Think I better let it go. Like another love TKO. Oh, think I better let it go. What you think about it, girl? Oh, yeah.
My playlist is my co-host. You know who that is. Legendary Teddy Pendergrass. Love TKO. Sometimes we get knocked off our square, man. Sometimes we get knocked off our square. And when that happens, we just don't have the capacity, to pour into the positive side of our relationships. And if something happens in your relationship that causes, in other words, let me give you an example when I say if something happens. If somebody cheats, right? And, the other party wants to move forward, or both parties want to move forward, they agree to move forward, but say the party that has been hurt by the cheating hasn't had the opportunity to express or share their distrust, their anger, their disappointment, they may cope by shutting down the love. I know it's difficult. It happens in real time, in real life. How do you refill the love gas tank? Right? And this is giving you an example of how something can spur that on, because in real life, relationships lose steam on their own, to no fault, of each party. In real life, relationships can lose steam on their own. But if you've done something, if you've committed some type of infraction, one of the coping mechanisms for moving on is being cold. The person who was hurt, can become cold, despondent, anxious, depressed, withdrawn. All of this can happen. Agree or disagree, emotional detachment can be helpful if you use it purposely, such as by setting boundaries with certain peoples or groups. Boundaries can help you maintain a healthy distance from people who demand too much of your emotional attention, or they can set an emotional boundary for a significant other that hurt you, that you're not ready to let go. Sometimes coldness is the response and the reaction to staying in it. when you're not emotionally fulfilled or satisfied or you're still hurt? Gosh, this is tough. Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia, get in here.
Right up in the fire with it. What up with you, huh?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Ain't nothing too much, man. I missed the setup, but I feel like it's just straight from the spirit time right now. It's about how to refill that love tank, huh?
How do you do it?
Yeah. I think identify the fuel first and foremost, right?
Identify the fuel. Wow.
Yeah, let's go straight there. Let's figure out what it's going to like. Am I taking unleaded? Do I require premium? Is this like an electric scooter? Like what type of
is it solar
vehicle?
powered?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the wind turbines, like what we working with. And I think really though like I remember reading your I love the way that you frame all the topics with the questions and all. And one question that stuck out to me was I think it was something about like should you be waiting to like figure out if you want to stay with somebody? Like how much time you should give yourself or somebody else and all of that.
Right.
And man, I think for me that's heavy because it's like I believe that first and foremost, each of us individually need to decide that we're going to be true to ourselves first and foremost before we worry about anything else. Like if somebody going to stay with us or this and the third. Like personally, I believe that as long as we have clarity about who we are and we can be more quickened in our decision making sometimes, I think that really helps. Because a lot of it is like, I think that level of uncertainty, sometimes I think we leave too much room for error, and it's like our own fault. Because as long as we're able to, even tie it into like the most recent topic too, like as long as we can just lean into what's true with the level head at least, you know what I'm saying? Even if that's like, look, okay, right now I feel a bit overwhelmed off the strength of my spirit. I need 38 minutes and 14 seconds. I'll get right back with you, Queen. If you can lean into it and that's real, like, and you're dealing with someone that is allowing you both to have healthy space, you know, respecting one another's processes or the whole of what's going on, I think as long as you're able to not run away from expressing how you feel or communicating what you feel is necessary for y'all to progress, I believe there's always, you know, a way to move through something. But I think once we start making these excuses, like that whole adage is like, you know, if you want to find, or if something means enough to you, you'll find a way. And if not, you'll find an excuse. I think all of that really, really plays into the pocket. So maybe the fuel for me is just a relentless kind of approach or stance to remain true to myself. And that's what I would want with my partner too. So whatever we need to pour into one another, or maybe I could give you the ride to your station, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, as long as you, again, are moving in presence, I think you, I don't know if it applies for everybody, but you will want presence and all of the truth and love that comes through just being happy and fulfilled within, or just in the moment, appreciating life and union, period. Like that should help restore your spirits in a more healthy context. I think that's one good way to start, at least kind of reviewing the check engine lights or whatever's going on, man.
But what about the flip of that? What about, say you hurt somebody, you disappointed them, you broke their heart, and the only style of dealing with it, you know, that they may have, especially if they want to stay, is to withdraw. Do you allow them, shouldn't you allow them the space and the grace to kind of just work through it, especially if they want to stay?
Absolutely. You know, from the chest it feel good. Like,
but what if staying means it's not the same, they're not as loving, they're not as affectionate, they've shut down everything, but they're still there? How
Yeah,
long?
I mean,
How
but
long does one deal with that kind of interaction with someone that loves them and wants to stay?
so being like, if you want a receiving end of an approach like that, to me, if you accept that, then all you're doing is accepting a shell of your partner. Like at the end of the day,
Why do you say that?
and because if someone in their honesty is communicating to you that, in other words, that what I gathered, the essence of that is that at least for a time, they're kind of putting you on notice, like, look, well, you can maintain the idea that I am still your partner, but the substance of our relationship is no longer valid. Like, it's honestly not there anymore.
Do you believe?
And they
Well,
present.
that's one way to look at it. That's one way. I don't.
That's what it looked like to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that that's universally applied. That's one way to look at it. One could really just
Okay.
be processing, you know, whatever happened, and they need that time to just process. Maybe that's the case too. Maybe it's not just you can believe that we're still together. If they profess their love for you, if they want to stay, maybe they actually need the time to restore trust, to restore connection and closeness. Maybe they need time to you know what I'm saying, to rediscover that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and the context, like the nuance and the details, I think they will all come into place, like in consideration. Like, it's hard. Well, trying to put myself in that mindset of like, you know, I might have hurt someone and they saying they need to withdraw. That, in a way, is not necessarily a red flag, but the act of withdrawing takes you away from presence in the same breath, to me, just on the surface level.
Oh, stay there, brother.
So,
stay there.
I got you.
Stay there. My brother, Nazarene X from Atlanta, Georgia, is giving us some pretty interesting insights. What are your insights? What happens when a relationship starts to run out of gas? I want to know what you think about it. When we come forward, the phone lines are wide open. 1-800-920-1580.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The man accused of killing a homeless black man with a chokehold in a New York City subway has released a video statement through his attorneys. In the series of videos, Daniel Penny recounts his thoughts leading up to the encounter that resulted in Jordan Neely's death on May 1st. Penny says he was not trying to kill Neely, but just to restrain him until police arrived. Penny has been charged with manslaughter in Jordan Neely's death and is due back in court July 17th. The White House is shining the spotlight on NCAA championship athletes. Vice President Kamala Harris hosted more than 1,000 student athletes for the first ever College Athlete Day at the White House. She praised the athletes for their commitment to their sports and for being leaders and role models. President Biden was initially set to host the college champions, but had to cancel due to having a root canal done at the White House. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa is on a mission to keep you in motion. With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, the Napa Network has everything you need to get up and go.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Join the City of Santa Monica and the Juneteenth Celebration Committee, Inc. for an afternoon of music, unique food, craft vendors, and local resources to celebrate the 31st annual Juneteenth on Saturday, June 17th from 1 to 7 p.m. in Virginia Avenue Park under the theme of Coming Together in Appreciation, Reconciliation, and Commemoration. This year, the main stage will feature a stellar lineup. Local blues artist Sonny Green, who will kick off the event with a lively set of classic soul and blues. Chaz Ross will lead his traditional participatory drumming performance. Victory Boyd will perform original, classic soul, jazz, folk, and gospel music. Arise Roots, a prominent American roots reggae band, and Climax, featuring Cheryl Cooley, will perform their classic songs. Join the City of Santa Monica in the Juneteenth Celebration Committee, Inc. to celebrate the 31st annual Juneteenth on Saturday, June 17th from 1 to 7 p.m. in Virginia Avenue Park in Santa Monica.
Leroy, 71's backed up. What's your 20? Over.
Olivia needs more drivers for her trucking company to go the extra mile.
Got 3 more stops to make.
She wants to hitch a team to drive business forward.
Lots of double nickels on the 169. You know what I'm over? This driver shortage.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
How y'all feel? Brothers, y'all all right? See how y'all groove today. All right. I'm getting tired of your shit. You don't never buy me nothing. See, every time you come around, you got to bring Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone. See, why can't we be by ourselves sometimes? See, I've been having this on my mind for a long time. I just want it to be you and me, like it used to be, baby. But you don't know how to act. So matter of fact, I think you better call Tyrone. Call him and tell him, come on, help you get your come on. You need to call Tyrone. Call him and tell him I said, come on.
What you want to do is, for your child, is that you want the best for the best in them. That's what you want. And that's what you want from people that you surround yourself with. Now, they'll hold you to a high standard if that's the case, right? Because whenever you degenerate in any of the multiple ways that you're likely to degenerate, they're going to like whack you on the back of the head and say, you know, clue the hell in. You know, you're demeaning yourself. You're less than you could be. And there's real judgment in that, and it's harsh. You know, but with friends, it's the same thing. You want friends, they're not friends if they're not these people. You want friends who, when something good happens to you, that's good for you, right? They're happy about that. They're not like all bitter and resentful underground and like saying horrible things behind your back and telling you how they did something that was better and trying to drag you down. It's like, that's not helpful. And then when something bad happens to you and you go to them and you say, look, this terrible thing happened to me. First of all, they don't try to top it with some like horrible thing that happened to them because they don't have the patience to listen. And second, they're not secretly gloating about the fact that catastrophe finally befell you. It's like they're actually hurt by it. And that chapter is an injunction. Is like, take a look at the people that are around you. And if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away. Because, well, first of all, that's best for them too. If you put up with that, all you're doing is enabling it. It's like, well, it's okay that you mistreat me in a way that's harmful to me and everyone else. It's like, actually, no, that is not okay. It's not the least bit okay. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to help someone when they're down. That's a whole different issue. Sometimes someone's on an incorrigible path. There's just nothing you can do. You know, maybe they're aiming down. They're aiming down hard. And they're bitter, and everything they do is to produce misery, virtually everything. And you have to detach yourself from that. It's like, I always think about it from the perspective of a lifeguard. So if you're training to be a lifeguard, one of the things that you're trained to do is to approach someone.
And you know what's crazy about what Jordan Peterson is saying? Sometimes you hurt your partner, they withdraw. You define the withdrawing as the tank, you know, the love tank getting low and going on E. But sometimes they withdraw because you haven't created a safe space for them to vent at how you hurt them. Right? So they want to vent. They want to get it off their chest. They want to let you know to the magnitude, to the depth of how badly you hurt them. But they also feel like there will be a resistance in you when they unleash their truth on how they feel about how you made them feel or what you've done to them, right? But the reality of it is, if you're guilty of it, you're supposed to kind of open up and allow them to lash out a little. And I'm not saying in an abusive manner. I'm saying in a truthful, unapologetic, top-down, this is how you made me feel. And the way I'm acting is a clear result of how you made me feel like this is not a safe space. Or how you made me feel like you don't honor or respect this relationship. And what's interesting about what Jordan Peters was saying, very interesting. Sometimes your closest friends gives you tough love. And in a lot of cases, especially if they're really good friends, you tend to accept the reprimand that comes from your friends. Why is it that many men, myself included, can't take that reprimand from my woman? The woman I hurt, the woman I disappointed, the woman I let down. So when it's time for her to flip it and reprimand me in much the same way as my friends are allowed to reprimand me, because my definition of friendship is you got to pull my coattail if you really got my back. Why do we label it as an attack and then buy into the empty tank idea when our woman is pulling our coattails for behavior that is for behavior that is detrimental to the team? Woo! I know brothers ain't never seen it that way, huh? Uh-oh, here come Andy. Andy, your thoughts?
Controversial, but we ain't trying to hear that.
We got to hear it if we going to hear it from our brothers.
Understood. But I felt like we talked about this months before, but it's like sometimes you just want to come home and you just don't want to hear nothing. You want her to be my peace.
But
That's
Andy, if you caused a disruption in the relationship, don't you have to provide grace and space for her to let loose on you?
100%, but doesn't mean it feels good.
So I think part of manhood, part of leadership, and part of that sacred word men throw around, accountability, is to allow her to break some dishes.
Absolutely.
Yay! 1-800-920-1580. What are your thoughts? Tonight we on fire. Let me get my brother Nazarene X back in here. Wrap your thought, good brother.
Hey, so you said, oh, girl, need room to tear up some paper plates.
Like, paper plates.
You talking about dishes. Not everybody got dishes in the crib.
Hey,
like
that's my mama China. Put that down.
Right, you're out doing the most. Grab them little party cups out for you. But nah, like again, just within context. I mean, if you are really involved with someone and there's a conscious infraction made, right? Like something that is not fictitious, is not far left, but something that both parties can identify, as adults and say there was some type of wrongdoing done, or, just somebody's feelings are hurt. I think again in there, we don't have to make a big deal out of little things. And it's not to belittle the types of things that couples can go through, right?
Hold on. I can't let you do that. Oh, no. I can't. No. I can't. No. I can't let you do that. You cannot marginalize the hurt you cause. Stay with me, Nazarene. When we come forward, Nazarene got to clean this up.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
It's Black Music Appreciation Month, one of my favorite months of the year. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you in part by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. What's up, SoCal? Here are a few Black Music Month events to help you celebrate. First stop, throughout June, Disneyland is honoring the history of Black music with bands performing hits by Black artists from various decades. Next, catch the screening of Heart and Soul, a love story at the Grammy Museum, June 8th in the Museum's Theater. And on Juneteenth, that's right, June 17th, join Mayor Karen Bass and Councilwoman Heather Hutt on Jefferson Boulevard for the naming and ribbon cutting ceremony of the New Orleans Corridor, followed by a second line parade all the way to the main stage in front of Harold and Bells for a concert celebrating Black music with Terrace Martin and Friends, Irvin Mayfield, 1500 or Nothing, and more. Visit NOLA2LAtickets.org. NOLA2LAtickets.org. Fun fact, President Jimmy Carter established June as Black Music Month in 1979. Here's to 44 years.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Are you a small or micro business owner looking for ways to succeed after the pandemic? LA County has got you covered. Gain access to economic opportunity grants and technical assistance to help your business thrive. Whether you need mentorship or capital investment programs, they're here to help. Find out if you qualify at recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/programs. LA County and you, moving forward together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whose playlist is colder than my co-host? Ladies and gentlemen, the Voice of Reason, as usual, is on fire tonight. And that's Maya. Moving on, that was a cold little time. The 90s, boy, it was fire back then. Maya was on fire. Yeah, the Voice of Reason is live. What happens when your love tank is on empty? The VOR is live from Leimert Park. We are at none other than, this is historic, this is legendary, KBLA. Did you know June 19th is the second year anniversary? And in 2 years, we're already legend. Do you understand? We're already legendary. In 2 years. We're legendary. The Voice of Reason has been here just a little under a year and a half, and I've been on fire since day one. The fire has always been lit. And I'm telling you, not just regular smoldering rocks. I'm talking about lava flows, pyroclastic, intellectual lava flows from day one. And we're going to keep it lit. Nazarene X, get in here.
All right. Yeah, man. You try to blame me for something I didn't even do, though, huh?
Hold on, Nazarene.
Like, man, I mean, I'm not trying to minimize anything real that we as couples go through. Now, if I find myself to be at fault, I say so be it. I fully accept that, acknowledge that, and will stand on what I did first. Like, not make excuses about it. You know, it's that type of thing. You own up to it and wear a way through, you know, whatever obstacle is presents itself, then be down to just see it through. Like, be
But
grateful
no,
that you,
this is where you kind of drove off the road.
where I go,
If you ever use "this is small" to somebody that's hurting, you've marginalized how they feel.
right,
So if
right.
you,
And
so
I'm,
so if you
mhm.
frame it as "come on now, let's come on, pick it up, let's go,"
Right,
they gonna be like,
right, right,
"Oh, so I don't have the space to feel. You did it to
right.
me, so I
Hmm.
don't have a moment to just say, you know what, that was really horrible what you did, and I want to tell you
Right.
about it." See,
Hmm.
so what happens is, Nazarene, when we limit that, and I listen, man, I'm speaking from experiential facts. soon as
Hmm.
soon as hey, come on, get through it, pick it up, let's go. We can't. Then it feels like, yo, you're being dismissive and you're
Yo,
marginalizing. So you got to be careful with the words you choose.
you have an extremely potent point right there, right? But I believe that more times than not, from this side of the fence, when men in this breath are coming with that type of energy, especially if it wasn't something like really quote unquote done wrong, then what we're speaking to is more of a level of encouragement or enthusiasm, that push. And
Okay,
sometimes,
okay, wait a minute, because you done hit on something. What is really hasn't done something wrong?
I look, it's like, if, let me see if I just pull from a real world example. All right. So, for example, if a woman communicates to me that her feelings are hurt, right,
Mm-hmm.
and she needs time to express the uh, the fullness of how she feels, I can dig that, right? Like, I can leave space for that. I'm not saying, hey, get over it, hey, this and the third. It's like, again, if I'm clear that what has been hurt, what's wrong is you feel hurt by XYZ, then the floor being open is like, welcome to you expressing your feelings to the fullest. Now, if, because not always with women do they really want to deal with quote unquote what hurt them. Sometimes it's more about them just having that space to express how they feel, and that works on both good and bad sides.
So two things. You're right. In one sense, and this goes bi-directional. I don't believe that this is a unidirectional point. It's a bi-directional point.
Mhm.
Men should have the space to express how they really feel, and women should have the space to do the same in context of a relationship. But the other piece is, you did something wrong, and you might be pushing the get over it narrative, and that could cause her to shut down in a myriad of ways and go cold, and vice versa. If a man isn't allowed to express the truth of what's on his mind, what's on his heart, and a woman is like, "Oh, come on now," do you get what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
could
I get
he
what
could
you're
shut
saying.
down too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I guess it's the subtleties, right? Because you're not uh, being dismissive about how your partner feels. That's not the move to make when you're trying to cultivate and enjoy a healthy relationship. You're not belittling them, because everybody has their little quirks or whatnot too. It's like some things hurt one party in a different way or affect the party in a different way than the other person. So any type of get over it type of push to the tone that you speaking on, like, yeah, that's kind of out of pocket, and yeah, that's where you can cause somebody to want to shell up, or again, because I think it's about feeling that air of being receptive to one another's fullness, because that's what it's all about. Like, if you are the person that's pushing someone to just quote unquote get over something, then you're the one that's actually shut down to more of the whole of the moment of that expression of that conversation of what's going on. However, I think that, again, back to this whole thing about the fuel, right? To an extent, especially if we are locked into this mode where, typically speaking, again, not to bang on women, I'm sure men do it too, but you hear about a lot of this, like, well, where are we going? I want to go somewhere. What are we doing here? Like, in terms of a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll hear that, I want to be going somewhere, but it's like, all right, cool. If now we on the road, we in motion, and we broken down, we ran out of fuel. Now we on the side of the road, so to speak. We not going to spend the next 3 hours just talking about how we out of fuel no more. Especially if you came into the equation like we're focused on achieving this goal of getting somewhere. So for the sake of, how you say, prioritizing, right? Delegation even, or what have you, like the communication is, I like, Queen, cool. We can walk together to this fuel station and along the way, tell me all about it. But I'm going to make sure we get the fuel and you're still protected so that we can continue to get to where we need to go. Right. Versus it being sometimes you're held into this prison of not being able to see when you're expressing yourself. I believe there are different folds to it, but a lot of times, like, we can get tripped up if we don't have a quote-unquote point. Like, again, there's no point of us seeking out, like, a solar power station if y'all are running on fossil fuels. Like, it's just, again, you got to be on the same page, or, again, back to the tone of alignment and not, you know, saying that someone else is tripping, especially, again, if something has been communicated and you're both with detail, or what have you, you're clear about what the transgression is or whatever the experience is. Like, say if it's quote-unquote something small and, like,
but Naz,
I don't like the way you...
But, Naz, I hear where you're going with this, but the bottom line is this. Transaction, or not transaction, infraction in a relationship, the party who did it has to sit with it if the other party wants to stay. The party who did it has to sit with it if the other party wants to stay. Hey, brother, it's the top of the hour. I gotta move forward.
That. Do your thing. Yeah, let's rock.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Listen, when we come forward, we're gonna get the women's point of view. We on fire tonight.
And your stroke ain't stroking no more. So I've been sleeping all alone. If you know what I mean.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The man accused of killing a homeless black man with a chokehold in a New York City subway has released a video statement through his attorneys. In the series of videos, Daniel Penny recounts his thoughts leading up to the encounter that resulted in